Good news is a huge chunk of that is mortgage loans. They're at their highest level since 2017 for young adults. But credit card debt also hitting an all-time high. Delinquencies in that category at an 18-month high. Here now, IWF Policy Director Hadley Heath Manning. I think this could be a double-edged sword. I mean, I want to see millennials out there buying houses, starting the American dream. But we always get a little nervous when those delinquencies tick up.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of different, sub-headlines under this major headline of record high personal debt in the United States. And I'd like to share my family as a part of this. We bought a new home in 2019, largely in part due to the fact that interest rates have been so low. And when we see headlines saying month after month, interest rates, record lows, interest rates, record lows, it's no surprise that we're also seeing headlines that say personal debt, record highs, because interest rates, of course, are the price of money. Borrowing is cheap, and so people are going to do more of it. People are going to do what's rational and what makes sense. And you mentioned mortgage debt being a big part of this. Another part of the story, student loan debt. We continue to see that increase. And then credit card debt. This is a part where my generation, millennials, are doing more borrowing and having more delinquency. So that does certainly indicate a problem. You don't want to be delinquent on your credit card balances. And the more delinquencies we see, the more we have to ask, is this a matter of a lack of resources for young people, or is it a matter of lack of financial savvy, or maybe some of both? But in any case, personal debt, not something that you want to be hitting record highs.
Right.
For.
And I should point out, for the mortgages, we're near all-time record lows on delinquencies, and that's where we have most of our debt, followed, of course, by those student loans. You mentioned, you have a new family, you bought a new house. There's a piece in the Atlantic, and it claims that the nuclear family in America has been built, actually been built on as a mistake, that we shouldn't have gone down this road. And it makes me wonder, is nothing sacred? I mean, it's a long article, it's a good article, Hadley, but I keep feeling like I'm hearing from the media that America has done everything wrong and we should change completely who we are.
I think that this article by David Brooks that you're mentioning is going to be one of the most important reads for people in 2020. It's only February, and I'm already calling it. I just think that this article, it's more than the headline, which suggests the nuclear family is a mistake. Really, the major point is our extended families and living together in community is something that we've seen deteriorate over the last couple of generations, and something that we should bring back. So even though I do, in your last segment, you talked about so many of the financial indicators that indicate Americans are better off, we're doing better than ever. That's absolutely true, undeniable, going to be good for, any incumbent in the upcoming elections in 2020. But we also should be paying attention to our families, and not just the relationship between mom, dad, and children, but are we taking care of our senior citizens? Our aging members of our family? Are we looking out for other members of society who maybe don't have that strong family unit? I think those are fair points and important things for David Brooks to write about.
The communal family, though, or the extended family, he talks about saying, okay, the affluent, they can, quote unquote, buy an extended family, right? So whether it's childcare, tutoring, coaching, after school, but this is why it doesn't really in the current model work. But also I thought was interesting is that saying that our children are now raised to fly the nest, right? To start their own families. And maybe there's something wrong with that other countries don't do that. I mean, but it's something that it feels like it's been a great part of the American success story. It's so funny. Before I saw this, Hadley, I texted my son this morning. He goes to college in London, and he broke up with his girlfriend at the end of last year. And I asked him if he was feeling lonely, because I feel like something's wrong. And I haven't heard back from him yet.
Yeah, well, we do have, I believe, a loneliness crisis in this country, and authors like Senator Ben Sasse and Tim Carney have written about this in their books, Them and Alienated America. Those are important things for us to be talking about and thinking about. I think they fuel the drug crisis, the opioid epidemic. I think they fuel a lot of our depression and increasing suicide rates. So while we're looking at economic indicators, we also ought to pay attention to these cultural indicators. It's not good if we have higher rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide, and I think those are tied to our relationships and to our culture.
All right, Hadley, always great having these conversations with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charles.
Hey.